share this out. I'm here today with my co-host, Tomás Garza, and I'll be introducing him in a little bit. But welcome, Thomas, and let's get some sharing going on.
All right. Thank you, Teri. It's a pleasure to be here. Everybody share this, please.
Life is a winding road, no telling where it goes. Driving through days and nights, won't stop for traffic lights. And I really wanna know if I will ever figure out where the road goes. Even if I'm falling down, I will keep on searching for my highs. You can say I lost my mind, I will keep on holding my head high, even if the sky is falling down. Jumping from cliffs so high, trusting our wings to fly. Sometimes we're crashing down, but we get up and start from the ground. And I really wanna know if I will ever figure out where the road goes. Even if I'm falling down, I will keep on searching for my highs. You could say I lost my mind, I will keep on holding my...
Okay. I got it all shared out, and Tomás, thank you for sharing as well.
You bet, of course.
Welcome, everybody. I love that song. I just found that song today, and the words to it just hit me that that's kind of my song, no matter what's going on, no matter what that road brings, I'm just going to keep searching for that higher ground and just finding the beauty that's out in the world. And Tomás and I are going to talk about that a little bit when we discuss the Course in Miracles today. But I just want to welcome everyone. This show is called Gratitude Happy Hour. And I named it that 5 years ago in honor of a friend that was my gratitude guru. Bob Miller just had a birthday, and he's in heaven. So happy birthday to Bob in heaven. And he lifted us up every day with gratitude. And once Bob left his physical body, there was a big hole. And I started Gratitude Happy Hour almost 5 years ago. So now I just focus once a week on gratitude and help to share some love and light into the world. And I was thinking today, what do I know about gratitude? And what I know about gratitude is that it makes me feel good. It brightens my life. It brings joy to me. And I truly believe that in giving gratitude, the person that receives that gratitude is lifted up as well and has more joy in their life. So it's a win-win. When you're giving gratitude, it's the same vibration as love. So you're sending out a big love bomb and just saying to somebody, I really appreciate you. I don't have to have a reason. I just do. And so that's what I know about it. And I want to welcome Tomás Garza, who I so appreciate. And I'm so grateful that I got to meet you and your wonderful wife, Cindy, recently in Phoenix. So welcome.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be here with you.
Yeah. So Tomás, what do you know about gratitude?
Well, it's very interesting. I know that it is very transformational in my life. And I also know that I used to be very skeptical of it. I used to think, okay, why is everybody preaching gratitude? Why does everybody want me to write 3 things or more that I'm grateful for in my journal? Why does anybody want to have a journal specifically devoted to what they're grateful for? What's the catch? I don't get it. And that was me once upon a time. And
Right.
what I've found is that it instantly puts all of us, I mean, anyone that gives thanks or is grateful for something, it or someone, it puts you in very high vibrational state, the same as love. It's loving. It's loving energy. And it's an instant lift. And I find that now it's an instant lift for me.
Yeah, it really is. One of the things I did in that year that I started Gratitude Happy Hour, I started another tradition called the Gratitude Vase. And I had an actual physical vase, and I would write someone's name down and say, I'm grateful for, and then their name. And I would send them that message. And then I would put their name in the vase. So I was growing love and gratitude in my vase. And it made such a huge impact on the people that received that message. And many of them were like, well, why? Why are you grateful for me? And like, just because I can. I don't have to have a reason to be grateful.
Right.
I'm just grateful for you. And some of these people I had never spoken with before. They were Facebook friends, but I didn't really know them. Oh, and we have, I forgot to
We have a guest.
lock the meeting. We do have a guest. So let me go ahead and lock the meeting. This is sometimes I do have open forums where people can just jump into the Zoom, but that's not what ours is today.
No.
So I'm going to go ahead and lock the meeting so that we can continue the conversation. Okay, there we go. So as I was saying, some people were just like curious, like, why did you choose me? You know, and it's just, the angels told me to do it. You know, kind of like the devil told me to do it. The angels told me to do it.
Yes. Yes. So if the devil can tell you one thing, the angels can tell you something else. Right. Well, the same. Yeah. Of course.
Exactly. It comes from the heart. So there's many traditions we can do with gratitude. You mentioned, you know, the gratitude journal, writing out every day who or what you're grateful for. It's just a matter of what are you willing to do and what discipline do you want to have with gratitude. And to me, the beauty is in what we receive when we share it out. It really does come back to us. And it's just like doing random acts of kindness. You know, we're doing it for that other person or people, but we really benefit, don't we? We're the ones that
We
get
really do. Yeah. Yes, we really do. I mean, we get back the energy and then some, it seems like.
Yeah. Yeah, I love it. I love that law of attraction. What you put out there, it does come back. It's really true. And we've known this forever, but it was just put into that term, law of attraction, you know, a bit ago. And everybody started paying attention to, what does that mean? But it's been around forever. You know, I think some of the early philosophers even discussed that, you know, of the energy that we put out and how we get back in return what we put out.
Yeah, it really does. And the more we practice it, I mean, the thing that occurs to me is, as we're talking about this, is the more we practice gratitude, the further we can extend it, and it comes back even more powerfully. Even if we're only able to start out saying, okay, well, I'm grateful to have woken up this morning. Okay, beautiful. That's something. I'm grateful for the blue sky. I'm grateful for breakfast. But you know, I mean, if that's where someone starts, so be it. That's fine. And if we keep doing it, it just gathers momentum, and pretty soon you're grateful for your entire experience and everything and everyone, and that all of that comes back to you in the same magnitude. It just increases, it's exponential, and it's really a beautiful thing.
Yeah, it truly is. I'm grateful for all the people that are jumping on here and
Yes, Thank you.
sharing this and being here with us. Lisa Berry is here. Hi,
Oh,
Lisa.
good.
And
Hi,
she
Lisa.
looked at my statement of a love bomb heart. So she's giving us one. Thank you,
Love
Lisa.
it. Yes, thank you.
Andrea is here and Hope from the UK. Chris Isis is with us. Tammy, Christina, and Robert. Hi, everybody. Welcome. Welcome. And if you want, those of you that are watching, just share what you're grateful for. Just put some gratitude out there. This is a gratitude show. So who or what are you grateful for? Just type it in and let everybody see that you have gratitude in your heart.
Mhm.
Tomás and I are going to be discussing the Course in Miracles. I call it The Course in Miracles. I know the official name of the book is A Course in Miracles, but it's all the same thing. And so if anyone has a question for Tomás, who I want him to share his teachings that he's doing on Enlightened World Network. If you have a question about the Course in Miracles or that show or anything that's happening within our world with gratitude and miracles, just type that in the comments and we'll try to address that.
Oh,
So Tomás,
yeah.
share with us what you're doing. You're doing this daily, is that correct?
Yes, I've just started a live stream here on Enlightened World Network, and it's really fun. I have to tell you right away, I'm really enjoying turning the camera on and starting to talk because I don't really know exactly what's going to come out of my mouth when I do. So that's a lot of fun. And it's only about 9 days old. It's called A Course in Miracles 365, Awakening to Love on Enlightened World Network. And we chose the title A Course in Miracles 365 because it's a daily live stream. And I'll be doing it for more than 365 days. Just spoiler alert, I'll give you a preview. We just started the workbook for students yesterday on the live stream. And that in itself will take us more than an entire calendar year to move through all of those exercises. And it's going to, I will let people that are listening to this and watching know that the times vary every day. So I invite you to check the show guide on Enlightened World Network. It's the pinned post on the page, the Facebook page. So it'll bounce around every day, but it's A Course in Miracles 365, Awakening to Love. And it's going to be so much fun. It already is.
It
Yeah.
already is. Yes. I'm so grateful that you're doing this.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I'm great. Well, I'm grateful to have the opportunity. Absolutely. Yeah.
Beautiful. And, I found the course about 35 years ago,
Mhm.
and it was still in its infancy. So there wasn't a whole lot of understanding of it. I was part of a group that sat together once a week and said, what the heck is this? And would look at some of the things that it was sharing with us to do, like you and I were discussing earlier about, erasing those, not erasing the concepts, but really looking at them and saying, do I believe that?
Yeah.
And tearing everything apart and looking at it with new eyes and new perspective. And Lisa Berry has a question for you.
Okay.
She says, how long after you had heard about A Course in Miracles did you begin the practice?
Not very long, in fact. And I began the practice in 2013. And strangely enough, I didn't really hear about A Course in Miracles until 2012. And this is, it may sound strange because I've had a meditation practice since the mid 1980s. I picked up meditation in high school and really loved it. So I've been doing that for over 35 years. And I was practicing a lot of Tibetan Buddhism and was raised in various spiritual traditions. So I didn't really hear about it until 2012. And I bought the same copy that I have right now today. Oh, that's right. It's right over here on my table. And I've had that for 8 years. It was pretty soon after I heard about A Course that I became very curious about it and then had to purchase it. I was instructed to pick this up at Powell's bookstore in Portland.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just happened to be in Boston when I discovered it. And back then, that was in, oh my gosh, like the late 80s.
Oh, okay. Mhm.
Then it was one book. It wasn't divided into three. It was one
Sure.
book that contained everything, the teaching, the workbook, and the teacher's manual.
Hmm.
And I would open that book and I'm going, oh my gosh, this is complicated. And I don't know. I think it's so hard for you to understand it on your, not impossible, but it's harder to understand and grasp it on your own if you're just picking it up and reading through it. So how long did it take you after you got the book to discover that, oh, I think I might need to discuss this with somebody?
Well, I didn't join a group right away. In fact, I was doing it just by myself, and what I found was that yes, some of the terminology was different because I mean it's not foreign. They're words that we recognize. They just mean something different in common parlance, which is really. It becomes evident once you do it. But I was so motivated and so compelled to begin to go through the course. And I was compelled to start with the workbook for students, which is what we're doing right now on the live stream. And things resonated that I felt like I was home. That's what it felt like to me, is I felt like I was home. Things just made sense. So I was very motivated to just go through it by myself. And that's what I did. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, when I got it and I started reading it, I'm thinking, okay, either I'm going to go crazy trying to figure it out or I'm going to get some help. And so where I was at in that community in Boston at that time, there was a big spiritual community, and we all just kind of gravitated to meditation, to
Mhm. Yeah.
chanting, different things. And I found out that there was indeed a discussion group for it. And that's where I really started to understand more of the concept of it. And I love it. And, through the years, I would think about it again. I might pick it up. Or what really happened for me was Pam Grout, who is an internationally known writer. She has studied the course for years and years, and she started blogging about it, and she would blog the lesson of the day from the workbook. So I would get those emails, and that got me back into, oh, I really need to get back into this again because it makes such a huge impact on you when you study it, when you go into that perspective, coming from the place of seeing things in that different light. So she wrote
Yes.
her book just recently. She published The Course in Miracles Experiment.
Mm.
And our book club here at Enlightened World took that on for a month as our book that we were going to read through and discuss every week. So that's gotten me back into the daily journaling of it and working with it.
Yeah.
Now, I do journal. It's not like a normal, writing out sentences after sentence. Sometimes it's just a thought. So I wanted to ask you, do you journal along with the lesson every day?
I've been journaling for years, just in general. And I journal, and what I find is that when I sit down to journal, my wife and I have a morning routine that is sacred. I mean, it is a sacred ritual, and we're early risers, and I don't start any appointments before 9 a.m. because I want my time in the morning. And A Course in Miracles is a part of that. Meditation's a part of that. Drinking coffee is a part of that. Journaling is a part of that. And what I find is that the course lessons sort of suffuse every journal entry. And I realize, because I've kept all of my journals from years back, and I'm able to go back. It's really fun to go back in time and to see, okay, well, this is what my understanding was, say, in 2015. And now, wow, okay, it's really different. And, I started off doing this just on my own. And I've since been a part of a couple of groups, led workshops. And now I'm here on Enlightened World Network all over the world, which is really fun. And, I think that there's something about this that really lends itself to a community. So I'm finding that it's fun to share. And of course, as the course says, we teach something. In order to learn something ourselves, we actually teach it. And I mean, if that doesn't immediately hit home with somebody, I mean, the adage, no one ever learns as much as the teacher, that's another way of saying the same thing.
Right. Yeah, I found that myself, that if I want to thoroughly understand something, do a class.
Yes.
Because when I teach, I do a lot of research. I'm one of those people that I want to know everything about it. I want to know the ins and outs. And so when you're teaching, you really do understand it more thoroughly. So I get that. I get what you're saying.
Right. Yeah. And the cool thing about it for me is that it's not about intellectual understanding so much. And I think that, if one were to try to understand everything conceptually with a so-called rational intellectual mind, you might go nuts. Or at least you'd experience some significant challenges. But fortunately, there are components about it that clarify and make very clear this is about experience. So love it's an experience. Yeah.
Yeah, we were talking about that before the show. I got my email from Pam, and she was sharing how, so many times we see something like maybe a sunset and how beautiful it is. And we might say, I love that. But the love is really on the inside, isn't it?
Yes.
Can we talk about that, how that's, it's not in the things that we're seeing.
Yeah. In the world, we're just, I mean, we can't help it. And our parents couldn't help it. And our school teachers and society and people couldn't help it, because this is just the way things were presented to us. But we kind of have it backwards. In fact, we absolutely have it backwards. When we're talking about loving something, we talk about it as though it's external to us, such as I love the park that's on the other side of the street here from me. I love the sunshine in Arizona. I love Arizona, as though is an external thing, right? Or a person. I love someone. I love my partner. I love my wife. I love my husband. I love my mother, my dad, as though they're external. And really, love is like you mentioned, Teri, it's a feeling. It's a feeling so internal. And let's take it a step further. It's actually who we are. It's why it resonates so deeply. It's familiar to us on a gut level, really, even deeper than that. It's actually who we are.
Yeah, it really is. And when we can grasp that, then it makes it a little easier when we look at things. And the Course teaches that, things don't have any meaning. They're neutral. It's a thing. But yet we put so much energy into some of those material things, and we love them. And when we understand that love is inside of us, then we can really understand that teaching from the Course, that nothing I see really has any meaning. It's just a thing, right?
Yes. Right. And we're laughing. Those who may not be familiar with the workbook for students, well, that's lesson 1. Nothing I see in this room means anything. This ear does not mean anything, right? This shirt does not mean anything. And there are ideas that seem quite contrary to the way we were brought up. And they are. I mean, they're exactly 180 degrees opposed, not from the sense of having an opponent, but they're different. They're a reversal, and the Course is designed to reverse the way we perceive things, to change our perception, really to change our minds about who we really are, and to challenge us, that too.
It does, doesn't it? It's like every day when I open it up and I read that lesson, I'm like, oh my gosh, okay, let me think about this for a minute.
Right.
But yeah, it really does. Now, for those that may not be familiar with what we're talking about, like you said, there may be those that don't understand what we're saying. This may be total Greek to them. Can you give us a little bit of the background of A Course in Miracles?
Yes. I'll tell you what really resonates for me as someone that was raised in a couple of different Christian traditions. I'm quite familiar with the Bible, and I've read the Quran. I actually read the whole Quran in high school in a history class. I took an Islamic history class, and our teacher said, okay, well, you won't understand any of this until you understand this here. And so I've read that and practiced Buddhism for a number of years, meditation. So what I love, really, what speaks to me about the Course is that it's so universal. I mean, we're talking universal truths, the truth of who we are, and it blends Western spirituality with Eastern spirituality. There are terms in there like God, Jesus, the Holy Spirit, and terms from Eastern philosophy such as the ego that to me are really blended very well and very perfectly together, because I never saw, even when I was practicing Eastern or Western traditions, I never saw them as opposed to each other, which I think is really important. And not everyone is fortunate enough to be raised in a family, in a household, in an environment where that is the case, where people are encouraged to explore things for themselves, where questions are okay, where skepticism is considered healthy and a normal part of any exploration rather than a sin or something like that. So for me, that kind of blend has always been really important. And what's also important is something the Course itself says is that belief is not required. So the Course was dictated to a couple of PhDs from Columbia University in, well, the 1970s, and by a voice that they referred to as the Voice. Now, the Voice later identified itself as Jesus, as in the Jesus Christ, the historical Jesus, just speaking these words to these two people, to one woman, Helen Schuckman, and then her partner, her colleague, would do the translation, the transcription, I should say. And that is so, I mean, technically it's channeled, but it's not required that you believe that that's even possible. I mean, what I have told people when I've taught, when I've blogged and written about a course is, if it helps you, treat it like you would a good story or a good novel. Right? You would say, for sure, that your favorite novel is divinely inspired. Would you not?
Oh, absolutely.
Yes, right. And all it takes is one brief reading of any page of this book to say, okay, yeah, this is divinely inspired. There's something in it that's going to resonate with people. No matter where you are, and it doesn't matter what background you're from. I mean, it's universal spirituality, so it's broadly applicable. And I absolutely love that it is about experience. That is wonderful to me.
Yes. It doesn't just preach to you.
No.
You really go in and look on your own at yourself. You know, it's about all of those things that we've been told or we've thought, all those concepts and constructs. It's like, okay, now let's tear them apart and really look at that.
Yes. Right. Yeah, and it makes us, I love that too. And it's not always pleasant, is it, right? In the moment, to look at all of our baggage. And, if you want to, if you're watching this and you can think of another word for baggage that includes the letters B and S, right? Then look at that, right? It's not real comfortable to have that brought up for us, saying, okay, well, I've been thinking this, I've been doing it this way for decades, lifetimes. right? But it's bringing that awareness of all of that just well to the light, as the Course says. We bring all of our illusions, all of our concepts, everything that holds us back and limits us to truth, right? Not the other way around. We bring everything that has been tripping us up to the truth. And it's the truth of who we really are. And it just, we release it. We release it. It's a process, and it does take practice, because it is about experience, and it's about something that you learn to do. One thing that I love about A Course in Miracles is it calls itself, this is a self-study curriculum. It's not a religion. There's nobody up here preaching. Teri and I are not preaching to you saying, all right, this book says this on page 345, chapter 67, verse 23 says, thou shalt not this. And it's not like that. It's self-study. So you discover what you're meant to discover on a given day, which is why something like we're doing on the live stream with the workbook is so valuable, because everybody's going to discover something completely different. And it may not seem like much at the time, but when you begin to practice these ideas and they compound, and you become more forgiving, more open-hearted, more loving, then your entire life changes. I mean, even to the point of what people talk about commonly as manifestation. What you look at and everything that you see and feel and experience fundamentally changes because of the work that you're doing on the inside. And I do love that about this course.
Yes, I do too. And, transformation is not easy. And one of our audience members says it's not comfortable, but so beautiful to transform it to the light. And let's talk about how that is not comfortable for us to let go, is it? We're in the comfort zone. We believed something our whole entire life. Mm-hmm. And now we're putting the brakes on and we're saying, oh, wait a minute. Let me do that.
Yeah. Wait a minute. You mean I have to get rid of this?
Yeah.
No, right? Surely I can keep this little thing, right? No. Yeah. No, I think it's, that's a really great point. It's not comfortable. It's not designed to be comfortable, because so much of that discomfort is on letting go of our identity. I mean, people think, oh, I'm a procrastinator, or, oh, I don't like to go deep with something. Right? I don't like to do this. I don't like to do that. Or I am this, right? I'm a procrastinator. I don't do schedules. I mean, these are just examples of things. They're identities. People have the unhelpful identities, like victim. Want to let go of that one? Yeah, right. We have all kinds of identities. And what happens is we formulate concepts. I mean, lesson 1 in the workbook is nothing I see means anything. Lesson 2, I've given everything that I see all the meaning that it has for me. So if you've studied Eastern philosophy, Buddhism or Hinduism, something like that, you may know the concept relative truth. Well, all right, so if each of us is running around having our experience, which looks to be separate, it appears to be separate, sounds separate, right? We're running around in these bodies, doing whatever it is we're doing. We're assigning all of this meaning to everything that we see. Now, it's going to be different for me than it is for someone else. Someone's going to look at the park across the street and think, oh, how ugly, the grass is dying. And someone might think it's the most beautiful thing in the world, for example. So what happens when we each have our individual conceptions of everything, our individual perspectives, is this is how conflict is born, in fact, out of separation itself. Because what happens? Well, we define our own perspective, our own identity, so to speak, such as I love parks or I hate parks. I mean, I personally can't imagine holding that viewpoint, but let's say somebody does. And then we define and we defend our personal territory. we defend it. And we're quite literally, even though we like to hold ourselves out as superior to animals, we defend our territory like dogs. We really do. Like caged dogs. That's the source of all conflict. It's the source of, on a larger scale, of war, of genocide, all kinds of really, really destructive ills. And we're all doing this inside ourselves, which is something that takes some getting used to. But when you do really grasp that, then what happens, what happened for me, is I got a real sense of how powerful we all really are. Because if we can make all of this conflicting illusion, we also have the power to unmake it. And the Course teaches you how to do that.
Right, to deconstruct it.
Hmm.
And yeah, one thing that I've noticed, I know with myself, I don't like confrontation, and I don't like having to look at something and say, oh, wait a minute, and go out of that comfort zone with it. And I think that's a lot of what happens is it's a confrontation, but one that's so necessary to look at these deep-seated beliefs and where did they come from even? How is that ingrained into us that something is a certain way and that it's only that way?
Mm-hmm.
So I love Pam Grout's perspective of the universe is a field of unlimited potential. And once we can grasp that there are more than one ways to get to a certain path or to get to a certain object, then we can open up to that. And the confrontation doesn't have to be painful. You can let go.
Right. I mean, even the fact that we think that a confrontation, or even the word itself, confrontation, right, is painful. We can even let go of that, of all of our concepts. And actually, speaking of the workbook for students, that's one of the points of it, is you just show up and you practice the exercises as it invites you to do.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing more, nothing less, without preconceived notions, without judgment, which is hard because we're judgers, all of us, right?
Mm-hmm.
We want to judge, we want to label things as good, bad, hard, beautiful, ugly. But if we're able to let go of that, then we discover that there's freedom in letting go of that. So if you want to say that then becomes self-sustaining, it really does, because you begin to experience lightness. You begin to create space for yourself. That's what meditation practice is, what yoga is. You're creating space, emotional, spiritual, psychological space for yourself to make a different decision moment to moment. That's all we can do. That we can create that space, or we can contract. And that's the choice that we all are running around with. And it may seem like there are a million other things for us to choose from, but really it's just that. I mean, is it love or is it fear? That's the choice.
That is the choice. I love that. And I always say our superpower is the ability to make choices.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
We have free will and we can choose. And I love one of my friends, Karen Palmer, says we choose every day if we're going to live in prison or if we're going to play in the playground. That's the choice. Are we going to go with that beauty in the world? And one of the lessons in the Course that I don't know if it was today's or yesterday's is choosing to see the beauty in the world. Choosing to look at it with those eyes and look for the joy, look for what's good in the world, instead of looking at what we normally look at and read the news and read the newspaper and listen to the news and see how bad things are. We can choose to look and see how good things are, because that's there. When we look for it, we get what we look for.
We really do. I think that's a great point. If we're looking for conflict, well, we'll find conflict, and it will find us because we're focused on it. So what does this really mean? It means we're more powerful than we imagine ourselves to be. So let's focus on and expect something else, like miracles, right? Like love, like a love bomb. Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's focus on that instead.
Yeah. You know, I've seen so much in the past 4 months. I've been on this journey, and I love, as part of this show, I love just to give an update to people of where I am currently on
Yeah.
the journey.
Yes.
Just recently, I was in Phoenix, Arizona. I spent a long weekend there. I think it was 4 days. And I got to meet you, Tomas, and your beautiful wife, Cindy. I just adore Cindy. She is, it's really, she touched my heart just with her openness and her, it was like this awe of the world. That was what I felt from her. It's just,
Yes.
the world's a big playground. You know, what can I discover today? So I
Yeah.
really enjoyed sitting with the two of you and meeting you and having a discussion with you and watching the wind kick up and blow some things around.
Yes.
But
Right.
after Phoenix, I traveled on to California. So that's where I am now. I'm here in a bed and breakfast for a few weeks. And I just recently made it over to the ocean
Oh, good.
over the
Yeah.
weekend. And I'm an ocean girl. You give me a beach and water, and I'm in my Zen spot. I'm happy.
I
So
love it.
this weekend, I found the ocean here in California, and I will be doing the next land blessing here in Solvang, California, if any of you are familiar with that. And that's where our Karen Palmer lives. And she's already got a place that she wants to take me to. And we can see if the angels give it the thumbs up that, yeah, that's where we're going to do a land blessing.
All right.
Then after that land blessing, I'll be headed further north to the northern part of the state and up to Mount Shasta. I'm not sure yet how long I'll be spending at Shasta. I think it depends on how cold it is.
Yeah. Mhm.
But that's the journey right now. I've come all the way from the East Coast in South Florida, and now I'm here in Southern California. And I've met so many amazing people along the way and seen so many things. And I'm really grateful that I started the Course in Miracles experiment on the first of the year during this journey, because it's helping me, I believe, to see things with fresh perspective and to really understand more about the people that I'm encountering and about the land itself. And so I'm just plugging along day by day. And there's been a lot of inspiration to begin some new teachings and new classes along the way. So that's the update on the Peace on Earth tour
I love
that
it.
is going on. And Tomas, I love that picture of you and Cindy standing by the vehicle. And
Yes.
it was a delightful picture. I had to use that in the PR for today.
I love it. Yes, I saw that. Thank you. And it was great to meet you. And let's give a shout out to Cindy because today is her birthday as well.
Happy
Oh yeah.
birthday, Cindy. Oh my
Yes.
God.
She may or may not be watching us live. She's at a hair appointment right now, but today's her birthday, and yeah, I mean, it was wonderful to sit down and talk with you. And you know, Cindy, let's give her some props. She has been a course student for about the last 2 or 3 years, and what I've seen in her is a tremendous change, a big time transformation and an openness and a curiosity. And she's really stepping into her leadership capacity, to her potential. And guys, if you're curious about how A Course in Miracles impacts somebody who was at first kind of skeptical and watched me doing it for a few years, ask Cindy. Yeah, she will absolutely tell you the impact that it's had on her. It's been quite tremendous.
Yeah, she mentioned that as we were sitting there talking, and she told me how she had just observed the changes in you
Oh,
and how it had affected your life. So
Yeah.
then you jumped in with both feet.
Well, I mean, I did that, and you know, I mean, it doesn't mean that just because I resonated with it and just jumped right in and studied it doesn't mean that I didn't have lots of painful moments along the way. I mean, I am much more forgiving and loving as a person than I was in 2013 when I picked this up. So there's been a lot of changes, and I've had to take long, hard looks at things to be released and let them go quite a bit. And I think this is true of anyone that's done this or has used this as a as well an aid or a tool in their own development.
Yeah, I think that's important to realize too, is that it does bring up that forgiveness inside, doesn't it?
Yes.
It when we realize that it's just us, it's really us, and we're putting all the meaning into the things in our life and the people in our life, then if there's something coming up, it's coming up to be healed, and it's coming up to show us that inside of us. And I think that's the beauty of part of the beauty of the course, is to really have that deeper understanding
Right.
about, we're not victims. Nothing is happening to us. It's really happening for us.
It is. Yeah, it is. And this is something that we say, I mean, and we're here on Enlightened World Network. We would say that, right? It happens for us. But yeah, I mean, right, we would say that, of course. But in the moment, it doesn't necessarily feel like it, especially if it's a not so beautiful, a little bit painful kind of moment. But really, it is an opportunity to see things differently. And a course teaches that. I mean, any authentic spiritual practice, any one of them would teach that. It's an opportunity to see things differently. How we make a decision in the present moment, right now, to see things differently. In other words, we choose love. If we want to get really, really simple with it, we choose love instead of fear. We choose God instead of the ego. Yeah, it's that choice takes on many forms, but that's the choice. And the more consistently we make it, then boom, the more forgiving we become, the more open-hearted we become, the more lighthearted, we laugh more, have more fun, which everybody wants, right? I think, right?
Everybody wants
Fun.
that.
Yeah,
Everybody wants fun.
fun.
Yeah, I spoke of Bob Miller when we opened the show today. He was my gratitude guru. Every day he would remind me that life should be fun.
Mm-hmm.
Get out there on that swing set. No matter if you're
Yes.
90 years old, go to that park that Thomas was mentioning and just swing on the swing set or just hang out in nature. That's our choice. We choose. And when we look at life and say, okay, this is my playground, I'm going to really enjoy myself while I'm here. I don't know how long I have. None of us do. We're not guaranteed anything. But
No.
in this now moment, I make a choice. And that choice is to be happy and joyful and free.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's a profound piece of gratitude too, isn't it? To have the free will to be able to choose moment to moment. Yeah, it's a tremendous gift.
It absolutely is. Oh, we've had such a beautiful audience with us, Tomas. I just love all the people that have been coming in. And I saw Lisa Berry ask a question about land blessing. Lisa, what I was shown by the angels, I work very closely with angels, and they showed me to do a ceremony in different states. I don't know if it's going to be every state, but they guide me to where I'm to go. And I do a land blessing that they channel through me and speak the words over that land in that state. And then there's a connecting energy going to the next one. So at each one, there's a ceremony and there's a blessing of the land and an offering to the land for peace and asking for peace to dwell there. So right now I have completed 8 of those land blessings from coast to coast, or almost coast. I'll be doing Goy and Solvang, and then it really will be coast to coast. And I don't know when this journey is going to end. I don't know how many land blessings there will be. And I've had people from other countries that have asked if I would please come to their country and do this as well, to help bring the peace, not just in this land, but all over the world. And I would love that. And I do have plans to go to India as soon as I can. Right now, it's not possible just to go into India until they open it back up from the pandemic. But I will be going to different countries to do this as well. Right now, we're focusing on healing our land, healing America, and getting us stronger again with that beautiful energy of camaraderie and peace and wanting freedom for all. So that's what's been happening with the land blessings. It's called the Peace on Earth Tour. And I take everyone with me virtually. Every land blessing is documented, it's recorded. If I can do it live, if I have internet, then I do it live. Otherwise, sometimes I'm up on the top of a mountain, so I don't have the Wi-Fi ability to stream it live. But they're all recorded, they're all on YouTube. And just, I love the journey. I love all of the wonderful people that follow along with it. We call ourselves Peas, and it's Peace on Earth Tour because everybody's going along together to do this. And you can follow the journey on my website at angelspeakers.com. All the links are there to get you to the recorded land blessings that have happened and the updates about it. So thank you for asking, Lisa. And I would love for you to follow along the journey. We are running out of time. This hour went really fast.
Yes.
I'm so appreciative of you, Tomás, for being here for this discussion on the Peace on Earth Tour and the Course in Miracles and your new show. And we've had a lot more people jump in since the beginning. So if you would just, again, tell us about the show that you're doing at Enlightened World and any other thing that you want to share with us that you're doing. I know you have podcasts and you have a website, any way that people can reach out to you.
Absolutely. Yeah, thank you, Teri. I'd be happy to do that. So the live stream that I've begun that focuses on A Course in Miracles, and I will put this in the comments as well. I'll put all of this information in the comments here to the thread so people that aren't catching this live will be able to see. But it's called A Course in Miracles 365, Awakening to Love. It's a live stream. Each one's about 15 to 20 minutes. So the timing will be all over the place, but it's here on Enlightened World Network. And I would just invite you to check the show guide at the beginning of every day, which will tell you when that show is going to go live. And again, it's A Course in Miracles 365. Love. And Teri, as you mentioned, I'm also a podcast host. I'm the host of a show called Decide to Transform. And Lisa, who's been commenting, is my business partner and a very close friend. She and I are in business together as podcast trainers, podcast producers, and our business is called Podcast Prosperity. So we're very, very into and love the radio and podcasting world. So yeah, and you can reach me. Email is a very good way to reach me. I'll put that in the comments as well, but it's Tomás, Tomas, at tomasgarza.com.
Awesome. And we have someone that commented, I am following it as of yesterday. So people are beginning to find it, Tomás, and the more we put the word out about that show, and you just every day, just check the show guide. Ruth and her team puts that show guide up every day to let you know what shows are on, what time they're on, and just come on in and follow Tomás and check him out with his website and the podcast that he does, and Lisa Berry. And Lisa, thank you for joining us today in the audience. So appreciate you. And I'd love to have you on here one day and hear more about what you do. If you would like to do that, I'd love to have you as a guest co-host. Next week, I have Stacy Small-Lord coming on. She's going to be presenting a new show on Enlightened World about nutrition and cooking healthy food. And, you know, it's so important what we feed our bodies. And this is something I changed about 4 years ago and got away from processed foods and sugars and things that just, they don't help our body at all, and started learning more about nutrition and what our body does need. So Stacy is going to be presenting a show on that at Enlightened World. I'm so thrilled. So she will be my guest co-host next week on Tuesday.
Cool.
So again, Tomás, I really appreciate you. Did you want to leave us with any words of wisdom?
Well, thank you for one. Teri, thank you for having me on the show. It's really been my pleasure to be here as your guest. And for those listening, I do invite you to check out A Course in Miracles. What I'm doing is I'm bringing my experience and making these teachings as accessible as I possibly can. So I really do invite you to check that out. And I would say just try it. If you're curious about it, a number of people have a copy of A Course in Miracles just collecting dust on a shelf for years before it finally speaks to them. But why not today? Why not let today be the day that it speaks to you, to pull it down off the shelf, pull it open, and see what you may find. What you may find is a completely different way of looking at everything.
Absolutely. Wonderful words. I couldn't have said it better. And I totally agree. Just be open to possibilities. You know? What's the best that could happen? Thank you all for being here. Thank you for tuning in and for sharing it out, for those of you that shared. And I wish you a blessed rest of your day. And those of you that know me and follow me know that I end every one of my broadcasts the same way. It's a word that means the light that I see in you is the same as the light that I see in me. I acknowledge it, I honor it, I respect it, and I love it. And that word is namaste. So I end the show with namaste, y'all.
I love it.
I love you. And Tomás, thank you again.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Later. Bye, everybody.